WMGAGE, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for being here, joining us on this fine Friday, whatever time of the day it is, wherever you're at. We know we are a global community here in Web3, so we appreciate y'all joining us, no matter the time zone. I'm Gambler. I'll be your host for today, and this is Cup of Joe with Web3JOE, which is Web3 job ops and opportunities. They power these spaces, and they are a leading talent and recruiting agency here in Web3, which you may have guessed, which is part of why we have the topics surrounding these newly started spaces, conversations on doing just that, finding a role in Web3, getting hired, and of course, if you're on the brand side, getting you the talent that you need. We're going to be here for a tight 30 minutes, and we're 4 minutes in already. So we're gonna go ahead and dive in, get the conversation going. Let me see. I did pin a bunch of stuff up top. If you could share either my tweet or the tweet from the Web3Joe account. If you could leave a comment, leave a like, share it out to anybody you know who's looking for a job, looking for a role, and you think a benefit from this conversation, or if you think they have something to add to this conversation. I know a lot of you guys are experienced and talented as well. We'd love to hear from you. And this is only episode 2. So, bear with us as we get consistent, with this thing, getting it going. A lot of people don't know what's happening, but it is going to happen every Wednesday, every Friday, 12:30 Eastern is the time that we're shooting for. And the last thing I'll say in terms of housekeeping is, once again, if you are somebody with experience in Web3 or you're looking to break in, you're in the right place. Reach out to me, see if we can find something for you. And again, if you're on the brand side, we'd love to help you out as well. With all that being said, we have 25 minutes left and a little bit less because I want to give Laura some breathing room before her call. But let's go ahead and get it going. Shout out to Sun When Moon. Shout out to Ernesto for being here with us today. And of course, our guest of honor, Miss Laura, always, always, always answering the call when I bug her in the DMs and say, hey, yo, I'm doing this. I want you to be a part of it. Can you please come be a part of it? And she always, always, always makes some time, even though she's a very busy lady. So, Miss Laura, you're a Spaces host, you're an advisor, you're a former BAYC counsel, and you're so, so, so much more than that. Excited to have this conversation while we have you. How are you doing? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I always admire the way that you host and the way that you set up the room and everything. I know that this is a brand new space, so I can't wait to continue to watch it grow. And like I said, you're always so eloquent. So flowers to you and just happy to be here, happy to get to talk. I think that, the whole conversation about Web3 jobs, it has always been a point of interest for many people. And obviously something that I'm passionate about and that I have been excited to help in what I can because there are many opportunities out there and I'm like they're not going to be just for me. The more that I could connect people, the more that my time here like scrolling or being on crypto Twitter, even though I'm having fun, the more like meaning it brings to my life. So I guess like this is how it has related to me like with my weekly GM and job opportunities. And sometimes people, like they either leave me the comments or they write to my DMs and say, "Hey, Laura, I'm looking for this." And yeah, that I don't know. It's just a fun way for me to give back and to explore those opportunities that we have.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for the kind words, Miss Loud. It really is a pleasure every single time. And yeah, you mentioned your job postings or your tweet encouraging people to share job posting. You've been doing that forever. So shout out to you and props to you for being consistent with that and continuing to accomplish that goal of like adding value to the space in your own way. And you've been doing that forever. Some of them get more comments, some of them get less, some of them get more brands, some of them get more candidates, but I think it's super appreciated, and it helps people who are out there wondering where to get started feel seen because you're out here. Again, you're somebody who's passionate about it, but you're also somebody who's done it, who's doing it, who has experience talking to these brands, getting in these rooms, having these conversations. And so again, that's why we're happy to have you here today. I want to dive straight into the meat of the conversation because I know we're limited on time here. Uh, Real quick, for those of us who are a little less familiar, or for those listeners who are a little less familiar with you and your story, could you give us a breakdown or background of your Web3 origin story and your journey, just so people know who we're talking to?
Of course. Well, my name is Laura, also known as the Miami Ape. I started in this space back in like towards the end of 2021. And at the beginning, I'll say that my journey was just fueled by a little bit of like curiosity and not really understanding half of the things, like not really thinking there was a place for me in this whole thing. I thought it was, I'm like, oh, this is like techie, or this has to be, you have to be, I don't know, an engineer or someone in tech. I like I said, I'm like it just sounded very daunting, but at the same time, I took the approach with a lot of curiosity. My background is in social work and like mental health space. So parallel to that, I've also worked in the music industry for many years in productions of award shows, conferences, even going on tour. So when the NFT space kind of like started for me, I'm like, oh, okay, like I'm a little curious. What are these people talking about? I remember it was Clubhouse, and I just started learning little by little, and then it really opened my eyes, like the potential, the digital ownership, like the community could have. And I really enjoyed the idea of this, this idea of collecting, but also the idea of educating and building and seeing that these opportunities didn't just fall into one specific group of people. And to me, that's like the biggest thing. Like people move to other countries because this is the only way they'll find opportunity. So to me, I'm like, okay, we have this digital space that is going to impact artists, it's going to impact this. And like at that moment, we we're talking about royalties. Like you're going to get royalties for life. So all that like really encouraged me to continue to learn more and to realize that it was really early and that not many people knew what they were talking about. So I was like, okay, I could also learn. So I would say that it things happened without me planning a lot, but more showing up authentically. I never thought that like the platform would also grow or that anything like that. I realized that I wanted to start conversations. Some of these conversations, I'm like, I'm not gonna wait for someone to bring me up on stage. Like I'll just start a conversation, and whoever joins joins. And maybe the key of that working out so well, it was because I genuinely didn't care. Like I was happy to talk to different people. And the more that I either engaged in conversations or interviews, the more excited I was to learn from all walks of life. So having this portal into, we were still very COVID times. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't travel and like meet all these people, but I could meet them here and I could have conversations that um, resonate with my values and who I am. And it doesn't have to be this quote unquote something like, I don't know, I feel like I had a stigma of like what social media looked like doing it for the wrong reasons, whatever those wrong reasons were to me. I'm like, no, I could have conversations about important things, and hopefully, someone, even if it's one person, will get something that they learn from this, or even if I'm learning and I'm engaged. So yeah, so that's how kind of it all started, and then I joined BAYC very early on. I built like a really good network there and started being really active. And that led into not only me being able to connect people with opportunities, but opportunities for myself and just truly getting out of my comfort zone because I never liked public speaking. And now this platform was growing, these opportunities were growing, and it's like, oh, jump on stage and speak at a conference. I'm like, I'm used to being backstage. Like, I don't want to sit and talk in front of anyone. So yeah, so it put me, like I said, I was like in a place where many of my worlds collided where you're helping, you're also working with artists, you're also learning a brand new thing that you've never done, but your skill set is also needed. And then there might be skills that you don't have, and yet you can learn. And I'm like, I got this. So yeah, so that's long story long.
You got this, and you've been crushing it ever since. The rest is history. But you touch on a lot of really important points that I relate to. I mean, and we've talked about this before on Spaces, but for me too, I feel like Web3 just meets in so at the intersection of so many of my interests, right? Whether it be technology, talking to people, educating myself, right? Getting out there, connecting people, taking advantage of the fact that we can come together globally without having to come together physically all the time, right? And creating those opportunities for individuals. I also really appreciated your point about you're not always going to have a plan. I love that because I get overwhelmed, fairly easily. So I like keeping things simple. And so when you say, you're not always going to have a plan, if you do, that's awesome. But if you're still working on it, that's okay too. But prioritizing, especially in those moments that you feel like you don't have as much of a plan, prioritizing showing up as authentically as yourself, right? I think a lot of good things come from that. I think there's a ton of wisdom in that statement that can produce so many benefits and positive results for you, whether you have a plan, whether you feel like you're in the right place, right time, right mindset. I think if you show up authentically as yourself and you keep going, forward, whatever that forward looks like, I couldn't agree more that good things will happen. And you're a great example of it. So let's dive into some of the practical stuff because I know once again we're limited on time. What advice do you have for people who are looking to break in to Web3, land their first role, whether it be full time or part time to get started, but to get their foot in the door with a Web3 role?
I think that with the Web3 space, it's almost like just start. I'm like, contribute, either join spaces. I'm like, volunteer, write a thread about something that you're passionate about, that you're excited. I'm like, if you're trying to find a job in like creation or like content creation, start putting your content out there. There's no one like specific path to follow, but I think it is important to start showing like your skill set, and either publicly or also leveraging your network. Like, who knows someone in this company that could have an intro? Many times that could feel intimidating, or it can feel like right now, I think it's such a hard market for people to just go and send an application in a website. So utilizing your network and the relationships, and ask for the help. I think sometimes, the relationships that we have built, they don't have to be transactional relationships, but it's just not a resume. I'm like, it's an intro. At the end of the day, you're the one that needs to get this job. And this is sort of like what I have seen with the job post. It's like, I'm not getting you the job. Like, I can't promise you to get the job, but I could make that intro, and then it's up to you to do it. So like, have that curiosity and not just the hype of what things should look like into the Web3 space. I'm like, maybe working sounds like fun in Web3, but it's going to be a lot of hours. It's going to be, maybe you're feeling the FOMO where you think, oh, someone works for this great Web3 company, and it might not be for you. So I think it's more of like really tuning in with yourself. Like, what is it that I like to do? What is it that I'm good at? What is it that I'm passionate about? How could I showcase that? And from that, like, what relationships have I built, or what relationships could I start to build in order to maybe get connected into having a conversation, opening a door and sitting down and, saying, hey, this is what I'm good at. And going from there.
I love how you started it. You said just get started. Just dive in, do something. There's somewhere that could use your set of hands, your good head on your shoulders, your strategy, your experience. There is a place. That's the good news, right? There is a place for you in Web3. And that's part of what I love it so much about here too. Is like there is a place for you. It touches on the point you just made earlier of like a lot of people, not just you, may feel like you need to come from tech or you need to come from an executive role or blah, blah. And sometimes you do for the right roles. But the fact is that the opportunity here is for everyone. And that's one of my favorite things about the space globally. Wherever you're at, whatever you have to contribute it. And then, I think also what you mentioned touches into my next question of like, what are some key differences that people should know in terms of the interview process and actually getting hired in Web3 versus Web2, and then B, once you get the job, what are some key differences between like working in Web2 versus working in Web3? Like I think highlighting some of that would enlighten people as to what they should actually expect in the process, and then also if and when they get the job.
I think it truly depends if it's like a smaller company or a bigger company. We have some major companies that once you apply for certain roles, you might be surprised how Web2 the hiring process could be. So not being surprised by that if you're applying to these big protocols, and that the process might be very slow, because they could get, I feel like a major Web3 company could also get bombarded with traditionally Web 2 resumes and a few Web 3 resumes. And sometimes they need somewhere in between. They need like your expertise from like a previous job or whatnot. So just to be open that like some of these interviews might be very informal and some of them, very informal and relationship driven. So that's where like I was referring to like who do you know that like could make that intro and put a step forward. And also other ones are just so big that they need to do things very Web 2. So like not to be surprised by that. I think having sort of like a proof of work of not only just traditional resumes, but like going back into what have you done in Web3? Like, do you have any tweets that you could share? Do you have any speaking um, experience? And also like seeing what communities, right? So like if you're applying for a community role, is this like have you been active in different communities, even if you didn't have like a specific title? I think that speaks volumes of like how have you been involved in the space and how do you understand that this place not only is like memes and like fun, but it's also maturing and evolving at a very speedy pace? And do you actually want to work in that? So yeah, I said a lot of things, but overall, I think is that is like sometimes it could be a combination, like Web3, Web2, even if it's a Web3 job, that it moves very, very fast. So be ready for that and really ask yourself if this is something that you want to do, because maybe you're having fun in the space and it would be better to get paid for it. But maybe something that you're like, oh my God, this just moves too fast, and this is not the the role that I would prefer. I prefer to do something different. So keeping that in
Yeah,
mind.
no, that's great advice in terms of like being prepared. I think that's the punchline, right? Is like be prepared for anything when it comes to Web3. It's like it may be a lot like what you're used to in the Web2 world. It may be a little less. I think there are certain things that are pretty native to Web3 in terms of like what we've been talking about, right? Like the global community. In my experience, I know a lot of times the teams I'm working with can sometimes expect you to work non-traditional hours, right? We could put it that way. And I think it's as long as that is communicated and you guys are all on the same page, it shouldn't be an issue. And if you're in a role you enjoy, you should actually enjoy it. But it's something that you should understand may be a thing, and it should be communicated and discussed up front. And there's other little nuances, but Laura, you're exactly right. It's like every team is going to be different, and be prepared. I also appreciated your point of like, look, people want to help you, right? People are here, they want to help you, they want to put you in positions to win, and of course, it benefits the teams that they connect you with if you actually go and add value too, right? So they get to help the team, they get to help you, they get to make a connection. That's how it works in a perfect world. But you want to make sure that you're ready to help them help you too, right? Have something to show, tweets, resume, portfolio link, testimonials. Have something that you can give to this person who's like, hey, I want to help you, so that they can look good when they're going to the team and say, hey, this is the individual that I think would be a good fit, right? Go ahead, Laura.
I think that is also important to say that from my experience with many teams, even if they don't have a role up, if there's a company that you really like and that you're like, oh, we'd love to work with them, give them ideas. I didn't do this for such a long time because I'm like, oh no, if they needed me, they would tell me. Or like I'm already involved in this community, like they would offer me the job or they would tell me where the needs are. And many times they're so like spread thin, even if they're big companies that they're not focusing on that. They're not focusing on how to expand or how to open something different or opportunities when you could literally go out and say, knock on the door and say, hey, I have this proposal. This is why it's good for you. This is why I think my skill set, would be great. And this is what I'm proposing. And many times people are like, perfect. How much money do you need? Go for it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, this works. Like, how does this work? So don't be so scared of following like those ideas of things that you would like to see for certain brands, and also be okay with if they tell you no, it's not personal, it's not that serious. I'm like, I have so many great people that I have met that I propose ideas and they're like, oh Laura, I don't think that's a good match. And I'm like, oh, okay, have a great day. No hard feelings, but genuinely no hard feelings, because then if not, you're just gonna be hurt 24/7. Um, when it's just not their priority. But don't let that discourage you from putting yourself out there and sharing concrete ideas, and always thinking not just like, oh, this would be beneficial for me, but it's more like, no, this would bring their brand forward. This would bring them more opportunities. And this is how I see this happening.
That's such great, solid, practical advice, especially for Web3, right? With us all being so Twitter native, like we have some of the best access to individuals that are in charge of hiring for these roles than I think again in any other industry. You can send a tweet, you can send a DM. LinkedIn is popping, by the way. I know crypto Twitter will have you believe that you just want to be on Twitter, but LinkedIn is a great place to get connected as well. So keep that in mind. Reach out. My grandpa used to always say, we already have the no, let's go get the yes. Love to see the room filling up a bit. We're going to be here for a few more minutes because Miss Lada has a hard stop at top of the hour. But let's see if we can get through one or two more questions. Our theme of the week is Web3 origin stories. We're going to have a theme of the week every week to help us structure this somewhat like a series and hopefully take you through, the beginning, getting started, all the way through getting your resume done, getting your interviews done once you've got the job, all the way through the end of the year. So, on the topic of Web3 origins, Ms. Lada, what are some ways that you've grown since first getting involved with crypto?
Like personally, like things that I have done. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like just personally, professionally, how have you evolved because of this industry since first getting started?
I think that my God, there's so many ways, but I think losing that fear or the stigma of like what social media is like, and realizing that it is a tool and it has brought me so many great opportunities, and that it doesn't have to look the same way that it looks for someone else. That your goals and your platform doesn't have to grow at the pace that someone else's platform has to grow, or that that's the primary interest, but that it could be what you make it. So to me, like taking away that stigma is like utilizing like this part of the technology for opportunities for real relationships, and that you could make it what you want and what you're comfortable with, and you could speak about the things that you enjoy, and you could I don't know. I think like I said, I was like use it for your own goodness. I also believe that I've gotten better at confronting some of my fears, like public speaking, and really getting getting to a place where I got to have this Spanish conversations where I'm like no one else was doing it, no one else was hosting spaces in Spanish at that moment as far as like education was around. There was a lot of great spaces, and like I see it myself here for artists supporting artists like even in Cuba and around the world, and that inspired me to I'm like okay, what are the other spaces that are happening in English with like news or something else in the market that I could speak on. And just starting that, I feel like it brought me so much joy, and also like I said, I was like something different. And being comfortable with taking the risk and pivoting, and that you start being imperfect. I think that before, even though I had many different roles, like traditionally in my career and then also in the music industry, they were very straightforward jobs. That like this is your role, this is what you're gonna do. And here I started like getting to the conversations, kind of what I mentioned of like, oh no, you propose the idea, what do you bring to the table, how do you negotiate your pay? So like having my own company with like the Miami Ape, it was like, oh, I need to put a price on this, I need to do this. So I think that brought a lot of growth because there were negotiation skills that like maybe I had to do only in the interview, right? And then that's it. You negotiate in the interview and then you're done. But if you're doing sort of like your own thing and your own company, it's a conversation. And what are you offering? And why are you different than someone else? So I think almost like um truly understanding what are the services that I was providing and what makes me different, and to reach out to some of like I have great friends in the space that have been mentors. They have businesses for years. Like, don't be scared. I would set up a meeting and I'm like, will you guys help me? Like, I don't even know how much to charge for this. And you guys have this whole company. Can we talk about it? Absolutely, Laura. We'll give you the time. And like they walk me through it. So, like I said, I was like, yes, you bring your own set of skills, but like never being scared of like asking others. This put it more into practice than anything else that I had done before because I never had like my own thing um, before.
It,
So
it sounds like you're saying, excuse me, this is going to be corny, but you went from being a businesswoman to being a business woman. Yeah. Okay, I had to get it off. Oh, yeah, like we're out of
I,
time, but real real quick, I just want to ask you one more real quick. What advice do you have for listeners hoping to land a full-time role in Web3? Quick, brief, top of mind advice that you would give to folks listening.
Mm, I don't know. I think that like I said, I might tune in with what is it that you're really good at? What is it that the space needs? Why are you different than hiring someone else? And to really think of like the contribution that you're gonna bring to any protocol, to any project, and and the consistency that you could show up every day for that company. Because many times there's people that, like I said, I was like, they might think they want to work in the space, but the space is so demanding, the hours are so different and so difficult that building not only the opportunity to get the job, but also building then those boundaries into how am I gonna work, this off hours. If you always had a 9 to 5 and now you want to go into Web3, it's like how am I gonna have this conversation when it comes time to the negotiation table to really put it out there and say like, okay, this is how I'm gonna work. I could work off hours, but I'm also gonna need a break that looks like this. So I think to keep that in mind to protect yourself, that like not to just get super excited to get any job in Web3. I think there are a lot of opportunities, but you need to be very like organized as well into why is it that you want to do this and how you're going to achieve that.
Well said, as always, Miss Lauda. I know we're out of time. Thank you so much for being here with us. I hope you have the best meeting coming up. Please, if you're listening, follow Lauda. Tap in with her. She's posting job board posts every week. She's been active in the space forever, and she's just a great person to be connected to. So, Lauda, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you go. Any final quick thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, just thank you so much. And I was like, I'm happy to join and any other time. I'm glad that you're doing this. And yeah, I'm sure you're gonna be able to help a lot of people connect either with talent or people that are been wanting to get into the space that might just feel intimidated by how do I start? How do I get these roles? And even if there are a new set of skills that you have gathered in the last few years, think about it the full picture, right? Like don't let the degree that you have, don't let something that you have done for the rest of your life, like you could always pivot, learn something new. It's never too late. How do you get better at those skills? So hopefully it encourages people to explore those other talents that you might have. I think that throughout time, society tells us like, okay, pick one thing, stay in your lane, and that's it. And it's like, no, I could have the skills, but I'm also many other things. So don't put yourself in a box that it's not going to allow you to grow. And that's it. I just want to thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for this conversation. And I will see you around.
You're the best, Lauda. Thank you so much. If you haven't heard it yet, Lauda recently hosted a space for OpenSea. Please go check that out. It featured Moonbirds. It's on her page. Lauda, have a great meeting. We will talk very soon, I hope, as always. And once again, thank you so much. We'll let you go. We won't be ending the space just yet, just because we got a new speaker on, and we usually go a little longer anyway. So we're going to let our guest go, and we're going to hear from our guest up here on stage. If anybody else wants to jump up, join the conversation, we'll be on for another few minutes or so. But Big Gids, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Hope you've been enjoying the chat. And what would you like to add?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim. Everybody, how's it going? Can you hear me? Am I audible, please?
I can hear you. It's a little choppy, but I think I can make out what you're saying.
Yo, thank you so much for hosting the space. Thanks for having me. So exciting. I'm so happy to be here. And I think I am in the Telegram channel. There were three jobs opportunities, and I mean, I referred a lot of people to the channel. So it's something really great, and I love what you guys are doing. You keep it up. We all understand that the future of Web3 is like having great talent, because that is one of our problems. We have so many people that do not really do their job well, which is affecting the future of this technology. So trying to groom people and train them and like letting them know the right from the wrong things to be a better person at their job is something really cool. So, well, I have a report. Probably I'm just going to like send you a DM. I'm not sure if I want to pronounce that right. Gambler, is that correct?
Gambler, yeah, like gambler, like a
Gambler.
degenerate casino
Yeah,
gambler.
yeah, Gambler. So, yeah, I kind of have a. Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I think I'm working.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I kind of have a report I want to, I've been getting a lot of DMs from those I refer to the Telegram channel. they have some report. So I would like to, share it with you if you are down for that.
Sorry, one more time. You want to share? What would you like to share?
I said I have a report. Like I want to make some report to you based on the Telegram channel, especially the three jobs and opportunity Telegram channel. Not sure if you're down for it, kind of.
A report, you're saying?
Yes, kind of.
Okay, well, we can talk. We can talk in the DM. Shoot me a DM, and we'll see. We'll see how I could help you out, or how we can connect. I'm always
Yeah.
happy to tap in and work together. So happy to do it. And thanks for tuning in to the conversation. We're gonna start winding down. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Big, before we get out of here?
Not really. Just let's keep it up. Let's push the Iman race forward with this technology and like let's do more. Thank you so much, guys.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for jumping up. Min, Sun, Ice, Sumitra. I hope I pronounced that right. John, Ernesto, Louis, BBG, Blessing, Trail, anybody listening to the recording, thank you so much for stopping by. E Mega jumping in at the buzzer. This has been episode 2 of Cup of Joe with Web3 Joe. That's Web3 Job Ops and Events. Your hub, your spot, your home base for Web3 jobs. If you've got experience with some Web3 teams, tap in. We'll see where we can get you plugged in. If you are a brand looking to add some talent to your roster, tap in. We can definitely help you out, and we would love to. Once again, I'm Gambler. These spaces happen every Wednesday, every Friday at 12:30 p.m. EST. Usually here for about 30, 45 minutes or so. And we'll be back next Wednesday with actually a guest that I'm very excited about, Miss Kashvi Eath. She is the previous community manager for World of Women NFT. She's currently working with a different team that escapes my mind right now. She's got a lot of game, a lot of value to share, and we would love to see y'all there with us. Until next time, please follow the Web3Joe account. Follow your guest, the Miami Ape. And until next time, we will see you very soon, ladies and gentlemen. Take care. Happy Friday.